Hello guys and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are returning with episode 2 of our La Liga career mode. If you didn't catch the first episode, it is on the channel where we started the season off with Girona, mainly focusing on the transfer window. But today we're going to be closing out the summer transfer window where I'm hoping to still bring in a couple of transfer targets. We're then going to be cracking on with our La Liga season, of course not playing in Europe in this first campaign, so we're going to look to get through season 1 pretty quickly. Let's dive straight into things where we've got about a week until our first game against Getafe. So we've had a loan bid here from Palma for our backup keeper, but at the moment he is the only other keeper that we've got. Of course, we signed Tenyas in the previous episode after letting go of Paulo Gazzaniga, so wouldn't mind getting Tony some first team football, but going to keep him here for now as our number 2. And we've also seen that Espanyol have received an offer for Nico Melamed, but after signing Adrian Bernabe in the previous episode, we're going to let Melamed depart. So of course we discussed in the previous episode the 25 player squad registration limit that we're going to be sticking to this season. At the moment we are on 22 players, so still got a couple of players that we can bring in. I'm just looking at our team. We've got loads of midfield options. I'm happy with our wide options on the bench as well, with Suslov being able to play out there. I think we can maybe do with some defenders and potentially a third choice striker, with Dovbyk being our main man. We've only really got Stuani, who's a fantastic finisher, but he is getting on now at 36, so maybe a young striker that gives us a different option. Now, I have got a few names on the shortlist in the striking positions. I really like the look of John Caricavaru, but he's currently out on loan, so I can't get him. Borja Mayoral is a great option, but again, way out of our price range at the moment. Julian John has great potential, I know, on FIFA, but I think the man that I'm going to go for is Mateo Joseph of Leeds United, Spanish born but playing in England. And the thing I love about this man is he's absolutely rapid, pretty decent finisher as well, knows where the back of the net is. But of course Dovbyk and Stuani are more sort of big physical presences. Mateo offers us something a little bit different with that opportunity to run in behind. He's a young player, he's Spanish, and I'd like to bring him back to the country. Now, I am running pretty low on funds, so I'm going to have to be a little bit stingy. I'm going in initially with 1.5 million, and they're happy with that. I think that's a great deal for the young Spanish striker from Leeds. He, of course, isn't first choice there, with Leeds having such a good squad. Patrick Bamford, Jorginho Rutter, even Nonto can play up top, so he is quite far down the pecking order. Mateo, let's try and bring you back to Spain. So Mateo Joseph is in from Leeds for a cut price deal of just 1.5 million. Becomes our first signing of the episode and our latest of the summer. He came through the academy at Racing Santander before moving on to Espanyol. And then transferred to Leeds United, of course. So does hold a British citizenship, but of course he is eligible to play for Spain. So we brought him back to his home nation. And as I say, I think he provides us something a little bit different as an option compared to Stuani and Dovbyk. Welcome to the club, Mateo. So that brings the squad up to 23 players. So we've still got room for 2 more to bring in. And looking at the squad, I think we could do with some defenders. But before we look to bring anyone in, we have got our second game of the season. And it's our first home game as we host Getafe, looking to pick up our first 3 points of the campaign. Vamos, Girona. So then, underway in our first home game of the season at the Estadio de Montilivi, and hoping that we can improve on our draw on match day 1. It was a decent result away at the Reale Arena against Sociedad, but yeah, if we're going to be competing for the top 4 this season, we have to be winning our home games, especially against the teams who we consider to be probably weaker than us, in all fairness to Getafe. So need to pick up our first 3 points of the season here. Well, it has been Getafe on the front foot here, and I have mentioned that I think our defence is probably the weakest part of our team. So I do expect us to concede quite a few goals, but our attack is one of the best in the league. Our front 3 in particular is superb, and I do expect us to score lots of goals. Well, Victor Zygankov nicks that. What a chance this is. Across to Savio. And a goal out of nothing for Girona. Not sure what the defender Angeleri was doing down in the corner, but we will take that all day long. First home goal of the save, and it's scored by the loanee Savio. Well, just quickly touching on Savio. Of course, he is only on loan at Girona, and we know that in real life, he's got a transfer agreed with Manchester City. So, of course, again, we mentioned it in the first episode, that sort of shared partnership between Manchester City and Girona, owned by the same group. And we do see it quite a lot in football, as Zygankov with a fantastic turn looks to bend one, and what a finish from the Ukrainian. But yeah, as I was saying, Savio transfer agreed with Manchester City. I'm not sure what we're going to do with him next season, because of course, that transfer won't be written into the game, and he is only on loan from Estac Troyes in France, so I'd love to bring him back on a permanent. We're trying to do things realistically. Maybe we can claim that he's gone to Manchester City and then headed back on loan to Girona for another season. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but he did open the scoring for us today, and Victor Zygankov, who scored on match day 1, also gets on the score sheet. And as we look for a third with Dogbik, and it really should have been 3 wide of the post, but Girona with a fantastic first 45 display. That's a good ball. Borja Mayoral, who we did take a look at in the summer. A little bit too far out of our price range at the moment, but might get an assist here, and Tenyas has to push it behind, looking for his first clean sheet since that transfer from Paris Saint-Germain. Decent save from the Spaniard, and the corner's floated in, fantastically kept out, and again saved by Tenyas on the line. Oh, it could be a chance. Martinez wins it. Stuani has Suslov in support, and that will wrap it up for Girona. A debut goal for Thomas Suslov, a man that I'm a big fan of. And I think he could turn into a real star of this team. Fantastic hold up by Stuani, the veteran. Offloads to his new teammate. And Girona have 3 goals to secure their 3 points. So first win on the board for Girona. That moves us into 5th place. We do have Sevilla in our next game, who currently sit top of the table. So that is going to be a very interesting clash. But with just around a week left in the transfer window, I do still have some moves that I want to make. Well, I have been saying since the season began we could do with some extra cover in defence. Now, we have only got 1 left back, but I'm actually looking at the right-hand side as I found this Moroccan Omar El Hilali. He looks very, very solid indeed. 6 foot, so I think he could potentially play centre-back, which is a listed position, which is one thing that I really like, is that he's versatile. And looking at his stats, he looks absolutely fantastic. He's really quick, high agility, good jumping, good stamina. So he could play either on the right-hand side or potentially in the middle as well. And with us only having 3 out-and-out centre-backs, it is an option that if we were to have an injury, we could convert him to centre-back. So costing us probably around 3 to 4 million. I'm going to see if I can pick him up from Espanyol. Well, this looks as if it's going to be a fantastic negotiation. 2.5 million. And Espanyol, of course, in the Segunda Division, so I can see why they're willing to take the cash. But for a 19-year-old who looks like he's got a lot of room to grow, 2.5 million is a steal. Again, from Girona, it's another fantastic piece of financial business. Just 2.5 million for Omar El Hilali, 19 years of age, showing great potential. And I think his stats are absolutely magnificent for someone who is so young. We will get that defensive work rate up to high, which will take him a couple of months. But yeah, I think this guy's going to develop really well. And for such a cheap fee, it's an absolute no-brainer. So that leaves us with around £3 million in the budget. So not a huge amount to bring anyone else in. I think I'm going to play the next game against Sevilla, and then we'll head into transfer deadline day. I don't think I'm going to make any moves, but if I can find anyone that I think is a good value for money deal, then I may look to pursue it. So it is Sevilla then up next. 2 wins from 2 for Sevilla and currently sat in 3rd place in the league. A win will see them return to the top of the table as we head to the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan to take them on in Seville. So underway in Seville, and another really tough game this to kick off our season. We want to get off to a good start, of course. Really nice stadium, of course, another of the La Liga stadiums that is in the game, and they've got a really good team, Sevilla, as well. Of course, struggled over the last couple of years, but we know how good they are, and they've got a real good mix of youth and experience in this team. I saw Conor Gallagher in their lineup in midfield, with the likes of Sergio Ramos, Jesus Navas at the back is going to mean it's very difficult for us to break them down. But here we come with Arnau Martinez into Savio, looks to get his shot away, and again, and both efforts blocked by Jesus Navas. We will have a corner though, and Alex Garcia does whip it in. Dovbik's there! And it's taken him 3 games, but he secures his first goal of the season. And we're looking at this man to be our top source of goals this year. And he's finally off the mark. Dovbik again. Savio to Gutierrez. Swings that cross in. It's fantastic, and it's 2. And it's the captain, Alex Garcia, flying in at the back post. Acrobatic celebration. And an acrobatic goal as well. Fantastic header at the back stick. And Girona have 2. Savio. Lovely feet. Back to Martin. And now Herrera. It might open up for Yangel Herrera. And I think the keeper lost flight of it. But it's a 3rd goal for Girona. And that will be the points in the bag. Could be trouble here. Suso. As we look to close out back-to-back clean sheets. Suso back to Jordan through the gap. And Jordan fires it in past Tenyas. It's not going to be back-to-back clean sheets. And I have said that I think our defence might be quite leaky. And it's going to be just 1 clean sheet in our opening 3 games. Well, Sevilla tails are up. And they fancy themselves to get back into this. Good tackle by Garcia. It comes back to Lucas Ocampos, and the Argentine drifting inside. Jordan, the goal scorer. Ocampos again, and it's 3-2. And Sevilla have another back, and their tails are well and truly up. 5 to play. Well, there is the whistle, and we do hold on after Sevilla's late fight back. 3-2 in the end in Seville, and it was comfortable until we gave up those 2 goals towards the end. But as I mentioned, our defence may be leaky this season. No clean sheet for Tenyas today, but it is another 3 points on the board for Girona. So that win takes us into the top 4 for the first time, and we now enter transfer deadline day. I don't think with the small money that we've got left we'll be making any moves, so I will keep you updated if anything does come to fruition. There's a bid here for Christian Stuani, now 36, but he's been at the club for a number of years, and I want to keep him here for at least this first season, so we're going to turn that down for now. Well, we are halfway through deadline day, and of course we know we've just got around 3 million left in the budget, but I would quite like to bring somebody in so that we bolster the squad to that 25-man limit. Of course, we can be under, but I would like to bring someone in, and I found a young Spaniard currently out in Italy with AC Milan, can play left back and right back. He's going to cost us probably no more than £1 million or £1.5 million. He's another young player, just 18 years of age, who could have a high ceiling, can play left back and right back. So for such a cheap fee, we'll bring him in as our 25th man. So Alex Jimenez is in on transfer deadline day. It does bring our squad up to that 25-man limit. Really small fee of just 950 grand to AC Milan. And the contract, a 5-year deal on just 2.5 grand a week. A good bit of business to bring in the young Spaniard, and he is most certainly one for the future. So that is going to do it for transfer deadline day. You can see a couple of big deals. Camavinga leaving Real Madrid for Chelsea, which is good for us. But we'll sim through the final hour of transfer deadline day. I'm really happy with the business that we've done in this first summer transfer window. And this is how the squad is going to look at least until January, where we could potentially make some more moves. But I'm really happy with how the squad looks. So we've also made it to September, so we've got our next batch of players coming through from our youth scouting projects. This guy looks like he could be pretty decent. Javier Ledesma, love the headband, and we'll continue the scouting on him. 6'6" as well. Okay, yeah, he could be decent, this lad. Oh, now we've got an interesting looking player here from Brazil. Diogo Martins. Potential range is pretty high, 71 to 94. I'm going to go ahead and sign him up straight away with the really high overall already. The rest of these guys will continue scouting on Carlos Silva, but I think for the rest of these guys, again, I'm quite picky on who I want to promote to our youth academy. So again, Caio Santos looks decent, but we'll give him 1 more month's worth of scouting. As for Ukraine, no one additional making the cut. We've got the 2 Shevchenko brothers. David looks probably the best of the 2, but again, we'll continue scouting on them, and Kovalenko as well. Doesn't look the greatest, but we'll continue scouting for another month. So we have got Diogo Martins, who's of course just been promoted to the youth academy. And I think actually looking at his stats, definitely more of an attacking player. If we convert him to attacking midfield, we may see growth by a rating or 2. But he looks like a very, very promising midfielder coming through the academy. But we'll head straight on into our next game. As I mentioned, with no Europe this season, I am going to try and rattle through this first season pretty quickly. So it's Las Palmas up next at home at the Estadio de Montilivi. Vamos, Girona. Herrera, that's all you. And Garcia gets it forward to Dovbyk. And Herrera, that's a fantastic switch out to Savio. Now it's Dovbyk, and look at the space for Viktor Zygankov. And it's been a fantastic start to the season for this man. The Ukrainians link up once again. Dovbyk to Zygankov, and Girona in front again. More changes for us. Garcia swings the corner and it's dangerous. It's Dovbyk and it's 2. And it's a similar goal to the one he got at Sevilla. And Las Palmas obviously haven't done their homework. Fantastic ball in by Garcia. And Dovbyk is just an absolute machine. It's not with Dovbyk. It's maybe a strange comparison, but he reminds me a little bit of Erling Haaland. He's got that big frame. It's an absolute tank. But he's also quite quick as well, left-footed, and a real clinical finisher. Artem Dovbyk, the Ukrainian Haaland, with his 2nd of the season. Well, there is the whistle, and Girona continue their winning start to the season. It's another clean sheet for Tenyas in between the sticks, as unlike against Sevilla, we managed to hold on with our clean sheet intact. Another victory for Girona. And that makes it 3 in 4 in the league. And Dovbyk with another goal. So, of course, now that we're outside of the summer transfer window, going to try and rattle through this first season at some pace, like I've mentioned before. We'll close out today's episode with the final 3 games of September, starting with Granada away from home. Vamos, Girona. Throw in for Girona down the left. We've got this little triangle of players down this left-hand side. Martin, Savio, and Gutierrez. And speaking of the former, Savio with his 2nd goal of the season as a Brazilian loanee bends in the opener. And what a finish from a tight angle. Lovely little play by that left-sided triangle. Martin plays it into Savio, and as it sits up for him, it's a fantastic strike into that far corner. Girona lead by 1. Now here's the captain, Garcia. Over the top for Zygankov. Brilliant ball. Lovely first touch. Oh, and Victor puts it wide. Should have been 2. Would have been a lovely move. But the Ukrainian, who started the season off so well, bends it wide of the far post. It's been all Girona in these early stages. Herrera Drills it into Dovbyk. Fantastic feat. Oh, it's brilliant from Dovbyk. And it's squared across to Garcia. And again, Girona could and should have had a second goal. Fantastic start and some lovely passing football. But still we lead by just one. And now Granada coming the other way. Still Granada have it. Oh, what a ball. And there's the equaliser. And there's that old saying in football, you don't take your chances and you will get punished. Two massive chances to score with Zygankov and the captain Garcia. Granada come forward and equalise straight away. So second half's underway here as Girona looking to get back in front. That's a good ball by Dovbyk through to Zygankov. Lovely build-up and Victor Zygankov denied. As the two Ukrainians who have been so good to start the season off, looking to link up once again. Garcia's ball in, is headed on. And I think that's Eric Garcia with the goal. We have been a threat from corners so far this season. Dovbyk's got on the end of a few, but it's the Barcelona loanee who gets his head to it. First goal for the club, and Girona are back in front. Oh, we should nick that back in midfield. It's good from Ivan Martin. Now Garcia. Waiting for the run of Dovbyk, and it's a fantastic save. Will be another corner as we look to our bench. Garcia to swing it in again. Dangerous ball. Dovbyk! Third time this season that Alex Garcia has picked out the big Ukrainian from a corner. And our opponent's not doing their homework. 3-1, and that should be the 3 points in the bag now for Girona. Well, there is the full-time whistle, and it's another 3 points for Girona as we continue our unbeaten start to the La Liga campaign. 4 wins on the trot for me and my new team, and it's the Ukrainian Dovbyk who continues to be our goal threat. Another for him today, and another 3 points for Girona. So it's Mallorca up next as we travel back home to the Estadio de Montilivi. Currently sat in the relegation zone, Mallorca, so a game that we are targeting at 3 points once again. Vamos, Girona. That's a good ball. This time Herrera can't get there. Costa still has it away from another. Budimir. It's a nice build-up from Mallorca. And cut back. Mosquera can't get there. And Tenyas can't keep it out. And Girona fall behind. As it's the captain for Mallorca who opens the scoring. Chavez picks it up. Blind round the corner to Gutierrez. Good ball. Dovbyk on the move ahead of him. Dovbyk back to Gutierrez looking for his first goal. It's straight down the throat of Rajkovic. Dovbyk showing that he's not just a goal scorer, already notched up 2 assists this season, but here he is, let him fly, and Rajkovic turns it away once again. Garcia will look for the Ukrainian from the corner. It's over him. It'll come out as far as Daily Blind, who lets fly, and Rajkovic comfortably behind it again. Nice little flurry at the end of the half from Girona, but still we trail by 1 at the break. And Gutierrez gets a good foot in. Now we can break potentially. Savio. And great opportunity this. As Chavez back to the Brazilian. And Savio with Valeri coming in. And Chavez and cleared away. Only as far as Garcia and Herrera, who can hit them from range. And does just that as it strikes the crossbar. Still pushing for that equalising goal. Gone a little bit more attacking with our subs. Savio does well. Here's Dovbyk. Back to Chavez on the weaker right foot. And again, Rajkovic equal to it. Garcia swings the corner in. It's floated up for Dovbyk. And it's the big Ukrainian once again. 4th goal of the season for Artem Dovbyk. Girona back on level terms. Well, there is the whistle. And happy to fight back and claim a point from a goal down. But really it feels like 2 points dropped against a side who has struggled at the beginning of this La Liga season and sit inside the relegation zone. Feels like 2 points dropped more than a point gained. But at the early stages of this save, we have to accept that a point is a point, and from a goal down, it's not the worst result in the world. So, big game against Villarreal up next as we look to keep the pace with the front runners Barcelona at the beginning of this season. Still unbeaten and looking to make it to October with that unbeaten record still intact. Vamos, Girona. Herrera, fantastic pass to Viktor Zygankov. Going to need some support. Holds it up for Dovbyk, and on his stronger left foot, lets fly. And Paulo Gazzaniga, of course, against his former team, makes the first save of the game. Sorloth. Away from El Hilali. Holds him off. Sorloth, fantastic goal. One of the top scorers in La Liga in real life this season. And as fantastic from the big Norwegian. Similar to Erling Haaland in his physique and his play style. We've compared that man, Artem Dovbyk, to Erling Haaland, but it is his compatriot who opens the scoring here. And Villarreal take the lead just before the break. Yeah, I won't lie, this has been a really tough game. This probably the toughest game we've had all season. And Villarreal looking for a second goal. Sorloth, who I just have not been able to deal with today. It's a dangerous ball into the middle. And Tenyas just about deals with it. Not a very good throw out. And Girona really, really struggling here. And maybe this is just a sign of how far we've got to come until we can compete. And there is the whistle. And Girona fall to their first defeat of the season. And it comes at the hands of Villarreal, who were by far the better team, to be fair. We didn't create anything tonight. And the home side pick up all 3 points. Our first defeat of the season. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that's just a sign of how far off we are actually at the moment at being able to compete with the top teams in Spain. So that will do it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the second episode of our new save with Girona. We have dropped out of the top 4 with Villarreal jumping above us on the head-to-head record. It's very, very congested at this early stage of the season, but Barcelona, Real Madrid and Almeria, who have flown out of the blocks, all still unbeaten. And we will face Real Madrid at the beginning of next episode. That will be out over the next couple of days, so make sure to keep an eye out for it as we're going to crack on through Sloggy season and try to make some real progress in this first campaign with Girona. I'll catch you for it very soon, guys, and peace.